board. Okay, so today is all about business planning, goal setting and budgeting, part 1. And it looks like we have another person in the waiting room. I hope I can let you in. Admit. Perfect. Okay, so George, when you get a chance, can you tell me if you could just see my yellow screen that says business planning?
Yes, I can see it.
Perfect. You cannot see my notes, correct?
No.
Okay, great. Okay, awesome. So I am going to, George, if you don't mind, I'm going to go ahead. Oh, I wonder if I could do that. Oh, never mind. Let me just go ahead and get started. Whoops. Part 1. Part 1. So what we're going to talk about today is goal setting, budgeting, time blocking, vision plan. And every time I pause, it's because we have somebody entering the room, which is fine. Okay. And vision planning, goals should be SMART, meaning that's an acronym, SMART, for specific, measurable, attainable, and relevant. Time-oriented is what we also want our SMART goals to be. Goals should be both professional and personal. And where do you want to be in 6 to 12 months and 3 to 5 years? That's the mindset we want you to think about. And your goals should be written, tracked, and revised often. Vision boards are wonderful for this. I have had vision boards going for 5 years now. I've done them before in the past, but I would say steadily for the last 5 years. And I have always either, I'd say 50 to 80% achieved everything that I've had on a vision board. So what I'm doing differently this year is putting time attached to everything and deadlines attached to everything, or timelines, not deadlines, timelines, because what that does is that's going to keep me on track to keep moving forward with what I want, because a goal without it being written down or planned out is just a dream. And I'm done having dreams for years. I want things to be in action and in motion to propel me forward. And I want and hope the same for you all. So the next slide is going to show us, let's see here if I can get to it. Here we go. Here you can read what it has on the screen. So what I want you to know is, you know, when you get your license, you know, when you had it, you might have received some congratulations from people. Then you might have felt like at some point there was the unknown of, okay, now go do real estate, and you're kind of there wondering, like if you're in a race, a running race at a starting line, and you hear the pop of the gun, right? Just sounds, and your body jerks into motion. You begin to sprint forward, you're running forward, and everything you're doing is pushing and pressing you forward. And you hear the crowd in the stands cheering and, like, you know, cheering you on with excitement. And then suddenly, all of a sudden, you hear, oh, moans from the crowd, right? Did you fall? No, you didn't fall, but your direction changes with a sharp left turn. And so the crowd's probably wondering what's happening, right? So, you know, you're still sprinting, you're still going, you turned left, and then you turn again until now all of a sudden you're zigzagging in a different direction altogether. You're not even on the track anymore. And now all of a sudden you find yourself in the parking lot. What happened? So it's very likely that your enthusiasm overwhelmed your purpose, and your excitement to run overtook your plan to win. This uncontained, unstructured enthusiasm was spent on a surge without a plan. And so it ignited a fire for running, but not necessarily for getting to the finish line, meaning your goals. You have them, you're a dreamer, you might have some written down, you might have an idea of what you want to do, what you want to achieve. Again, this is for both professional, but also for personal. And when you, and for George and Michelle, you hopped on a smidge after I started. If you have any questions at any point in time, please just stop me, or just, you know, throw out your comments, because I am going, but I'm not afraid to stop. So you stop me if you have input or you want to share something. By all means, please do that. Okay, so let's see if I can get to the next slide. Whoops. Okay, so you're sprinting, right, on the track. It equates to the passion, but without direction, it's just exercise. And getting to the finish line is the purpose of the sprint. So your plan to win is also your goal, your want, your action for your dreams. So when you know the purpose, you'll know the direction. When you marry the enthusiasm with the purpose, you'll get to see the finish line or the result of what you have planned out for this year. When you see the finish line, you will know the direction and it's your plan to win. Okay. So setting goals for your business will get you pointed in the right direction. And there's a few guidelines to consider as you formulate your goals. First, you must determine what it is in your aim to achieve. What's the point? What do you set your sights on? What is the finish line? Is it something that excites you and drives you and propels you to press forward? Is it something life-changing, bringing with it a level of satisfaction, otherwise, or an unknown? Specifically determining what the target is will give you clarity as you plan. And one of the things I have here that I want to show you, let me exit out of this bit, is this is one of my favorite authors, and there's a guest in here that may or may not remember this specific author that I've mentioned in previous trainings that I've done, Simon Sinek. Love him. He's a great author, great speaker, TED speaker, etc. So he is famous for what is your why? And I have a short little clip here. Whoops. What is your why? Right? I'll play it in a second. You must answer that question. Why? Why is the goal important that you're thinking of this year, personally and professionally? Why does it give you a burning desire to achieve it? Why do you want to conquer whatever it takes to cross that finish line? What's your why? So there's several books written about why. And again, Simon Sinek is one of the main authors that I absolutely love for this action. There are a multitude of speeches and conferences and workshops, but here's a short clip on one of my favorite author speakers, Simon Sinek. So let's see if I can get this to play. Whoops. Let's hear it. And I hope,
where do you start?
Can you hear it?
When you have a program that's about integrating life's passions? Well, you start with why. Why? And that kicks us off for the first speaker tonight, Simon Sinek, in his talk, Start with Why.
We assume even we know why we do what we do. But then how do you explain when things don't go as we assume? Or better, how do you explain when others are able to achieve things that seem to defy all of the assumptions? For example, why is Apple so innovative? Year after year after year after year, they're more innovative than all their competition. And yet they're just a computer company. They're just like everyone else. They have the same access to the same talent, the same agencies, the same consultants, the same media. Then why is it that they seem to have something different? Why is it that Martin Luther King led the civil rights movement? He wasn't the only man who suffered in a pre-civil rights America, and he certainly wasn't the only great orator of the day. Why him? And why is it that the Wright brothers were able to figure out controlled powered manned flight when there were certainly other teams who were better qualified, better funded, and they didn't achieve powered manned flight, and the Wright brothers beat them to it? There's something else at play here. About 3.5 years ago, I made a discovery, and this discovery profoundly changed my view on how I thought the world, and it even profoundly changed the way in which I operate in it. As it turns out, there's a pattern. As it turns out, all the great and inspiring leaders and organizations in the world, whether it's Apple or Martin Luther King or the Wright brothers, they all think, act, and communicate the exact same way. And it's the complete opposite to everyone else. All I did was codify it. And it's probably the world's simplest idea. I call it the golden circle. Why, how, what? This little idea explains why some organizations and some leaders are able to inspire where others aren't. Let me define the terms really quickly. Every single person, every single organization on the planet knows what they do 100%. Some know how they do it, whether you call it your differentiating value proposition or your proprietary process or your USP. But very, very few people or organizations know why they do what they do. And by why, I don't mean to make a profit. That's a result. It's always a result. By why, I mean, what's your purpose? What's your cause? What's your belief? Why does your organization exist? Well, as a result, the way we think, the way we act, the way we communicate is from the outside in. It's obvious. We go from the clearest thing to the fuzziest thing. But the inspired leaders and the inspired organizations, regardless of their size, regardless of their industry, all think, act, and communicate from the inside out. Let me give you an example. I use Apple because they're easy to understand and everybody gets it. If Apple were like everyone else, a marketing message from them might sound like this. We make great computers. They're beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. Want to buy one? Meh. And that's how most of us communicate. That's how most marketing is done. That's how most sales is done. And that's how most of us communicate interpersonally. We say what we do. We say how we're different or how we're better, and we expect some sort of behavior, a purchase, a vote, something like that. Here's our new law firm. We have the best lawyers with the biggest clients. We have, we always perform for our clients, do business with us. Here's our new car. It gets great gas mileage. It has, leather seats. Buy our car. But it's uninspiring. Here's how Apple actually communicates. Everything we do, we believe in challenging the status quo. We believe in thinking differently. The way we challenge the status quo is by making our products beautifully designed, simple to use, and user-friendly. We just happen to make great computers. Want to buy one? Totally different, right? You're ready to buy a computer from me. All I did was reverse the order of the information. People don't buy what you do, people buy why you do it. People don't buy what you do, they buy why you do it. This explains why every single person in the room is perfectly comfortable buying a computer from Apple. But we're also perfectly comfortable buying an MP3 player from Apple, or a phone from Apple, or a DVR from Apple. But as I said before, Apple's just a computer company. There's nothing that distinguishes them structurally from any of their competitors. Their competitors are all equally qualified to make all of these products. In fact, they tried. A few years ago, Gateway came out with flat screen TVs. They're eminently qualified to make flat screen TVs. They've been making.
Okay, so you get the point, I hope. The point is to think differently, think outside of the box, think differently than all the other realtors that are out there that are doing their marketing the way he first outlined it, with the why, the what, and the how, or the result of, work with me. I like his version using Apple as the example to re-strategize how you're going to market yourself. But what this comes down to, again, is why are you doing this? And to remind you all again to have that business mindset of you're a small business owner. You could be a huge conglomerate business owner with the right processes in place. Just because you are a cloud-based platform real estate person, you have the ability to soar high like the bigwigs, the big icon agents out there. You all have it in you to do it, but you got to think like that type of business owner. And I think a lot of the ones that have propelled themselves out of the stratosphere of the regular realtors out there, because there's a small percentage that have this type of mindset. And so having that when you write your goals and your business plans makes a huge difference in how your output is at the end of the year. So I know we've talked about some business planning, and I'll stop here for a second so you all can answer. Some of you have shared with me what your goals are, and some of you have not for this year. It's important to know what they are, and important to know what your numbers are for you so you can move forward and move upward. But if you feel like, what are some of your whys and the thoughts behind it? Anything that any of you feel like sharing? What is your why? Why real estate? Why are you motivated to do it? And then maybe maybe your real estate is for something that's personal. What is that? you know, and you don't obviously have to share your why if it's personal, but for real estate, I don't know, do any of you want to volunteer? Or I can help you volunteer. Michelle? You look like you're getting prepared. You're the one I could see on my screen, by the way.
Oh, okay. I can't see anybody but you.
Okay.
So my why this year, my why every year is family.
Okay.
I always strive each year to do better so that my husband can work less. But then, he's a general contractor, so you know how that goes. If I get something and he's got to go estimate it, so he's back at work, so he doesn't really get to relax that much, I guess. But anyways, my why is what keeps me going as always is my family. I came into this real estate, wanting to do a change and make something better for myself. So each year, my goal is to do better than I did last year. So my goal this year for 2024, when you do 2 + 0 + 2 + 4 = 8. And that means that's a good number to bring like infinity and to bring us more time to do what we got to do and get it organized so we know what we're doing so we can succeed.
I love that. I like your why behind it all too. That's fantastic. And I love your number. That's an awesome number. Good one. That's awesome.
I seen that the other day, so it inspired me. Like, hey, that's pretty good.
Okay. Good. 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 Anyone else want to share their why? Oh, Juan, I think you're talking, but I can't hear you. I'm not sure why.
Maybe he's on mute.
Hey, he's got his earbuds in. It looks.
Hear me now?
There you are.
Yes.
All right. So my way is being able to help people find a home because many people own a house, but they don't really own a home. And I just want to make like people find a home and be able to help people, I guess.
Help people. Okay.
Apart from providing for my family, I want to be able to help people find a home.
Nice. Wonderful.
And that's a great feeling to make
Mhm.
someone happy that you helped them achieve their goal.
Mhm.
Thank you. All right. Okay. So your why is critical, as you can see, and the answer to why is critical to your success. If you don't know why you do something, there's a pretty high probability that you won't accomplish that something. If you're serious about your new career, it's imperative that you know your why. Behind a shadow of doubt, you must know your why. Now, so what's it going to take? So you're going to need to know what it is to get there on time, right? We want to put a timeline to this. So what you'll need to identify what tools are education, commitment, a good old fashioned elbow grease. It'll take to get there. You need to know what all those steps are. So this is a step in goal setting where you'll create mini goals inside the big picture goals. You might need to set shorter term targets as building blocks to help you get to a place where you can actually start working on the initial goal. You need to fill your deficits, know what skills you lack, and know where to go to bolster your skill set. And so what we're going to do is look at a few examples. When you're looking at a spreadsheet, so the spreadsheet here, so what you see on the screen on the very top, and I don't know if I can, let's see here. I don't know if I can stop my video to show you. Let me tell you what we're going to have first. We have a vision plan, we have a spreadsheet, and a one-page business plan to look at. And
Where do you go to that? On the world?
so I have them. Let me see if I can, let me try and see if I can get out of what I'm sharing. Just a second to pull them up. Let me go to
Open another page, probably.
share. I know, but I have my whole Zoom on this one page. So let me try and, how do I get out of this? Escape. There's all that. let's go over here and go to, oops, where'd it go? Oh yeah, here we go. So I have, oh, I know where it went. It's over here. Oh, where'd you go? I have you guys. Oh, I had it hidden. Here we go. Can you see the
Yeah.
spreadsheet? Okay, so this spreadsheet here, and I will definitely make a point to send all the links and all of the PDFs and spreadsheets over to you guys in the email, and I'll do that today when I'm done recording. Sorry, that noise is our dog. But I will make a point to send everything to you. But this is that spreadsheet, and it's a plug and play. So you could click on it and type in your numbers, and it helps you calculate your commission earned if you've earned for your previous year. If you haven't, it's okay. You could just put 0 on there, but you could put your personal income goal up here on this top left part. And it will still help plug in the numbers for you. Kind of, it's a nicer version of that little spreadsheet, that little tool that we used once before. And I know Juan, you used it, and I think George used it also. But you can calculate the number of listings that you're going to need to reach that income goal, the number of closed transactions to income to meet that goal, and the total number of contacts that you're going to need for the year, for the week, per day. So this is going to really help you fine tune your goal. Okay, so that's one thing. One of the other things I wanted to show you was this 1-page business plan that EXP has. And let's see if I can scoot that over. So this is pretty cool, and I'm going to send you all of these as well. It's a simple little sheet that you can use to focus on wildly important goals, your WIGs, track everything you do. Do you have a scoreboard? Create a cadence to your schedule. So this is just kind of a big picture view of what you want to do, how many clients you're going to need, appointments. You can fill this out once you fill out that spreadsheet. Facebook or Instagram rocks. So when you think about your rocks, so let's say Michelle used the example of 8. So this goes back to Franklin Covey, Franklin planner, Stephen Covey methodology. So you have all of these big goals. You want 8 transactions. You want to put 8, you want X amount this year, and family is important, family time. So you have 3 big rocks, which are your goals in your glass jar, right? Well, you want to fill up that jar with little pebbles to fill up the entire jar full of rocks. So all the other pebbles that are in there are all the other things that are in addition to those big goals, right? Well, then you're going to fill up your cup that has the rocks in it with the pebbles and the big rocks with water all the way up to the top. All of that means you need to put things in place in order to get to those big rocks. You have to dump out the water first, meaning those are your daily activities. Your little pebbles and little stones that are in there, in addition to the big rocks, are maybe the appointments, or maybe meeting with your clients, or maybe those are other bigger things you got to do. Those aren't daily, but they're going to get you to your bigger goal, the bigger rock. And then at the end of the year, hopefully you've accomplished 1 or 2 or all of your rocks that are in there. And so where it says rocks there, that's the number of big goals that you have that you want to put in for next year. And see how this says next quarter goals. I love this because everybody usually thinks about business planning as far as 1-year timeframes. Okay, I'm going to set up my business planning in October or November, which is ideal for your following year. But really, it doesn't matter because I want you to look at your goals quarterly. I want you to look at them monthly, look at them weekly, daily. You all should have a planner. You all should have a calendar of some sort to write your appointments in, look at everything. Something will give you a history of what your planning, your time frame is for everything that you're doing. So this is just a great little sheet that's going to help you. And again, I will send this to you all, so don't fret. And then I have another one. So we talked about my intake sheet that I have had sent you guys before, and I can happy to resend it, but I found one from EXP, which is great because it's kind of a mutual sheet. It's for buyers, for the big B, or the sellers. So if I'm talking to buyer, I'm going to circle the B or X out the B. So I know it's the B or the S, whoever I'm talking to, I'm going to make it work. And it gives you little primers in here. I must make sure to ask, do they have another agent? Are they working with another agent? Do they have an agreement signed with somebody else? Any other notes that are significant? It's a buyer consultation. We've talked about this, right? If you're working with a buyer, are they hot, cold, or are they warm? Nurture is warm. Do you have a listing appointment scheduled? What are your next steps? Buyer consultation right underneath where it says DISC. If you've not ever done that DISC profile, do one, find one. They have a bunch of free profiles online. I think 2 weeks ago, I sent a link to a Brian Buffini personality DISC type of thing. It gives you the same type of information the DISC will, as far as what's your personality and what works for you. What I loved about the Brian Buffini one is they give examples of, oh, okay, you're a leader and you're talking to somebody who's a nurturer or some engineer type. There's another name for it, but I don't remember. But if you're talking to them, what I'm saying as, let's say I'm a creative person, and if I'm talking to the engineer in a creative tone of voice, and I know they're an engineer, nothing I say is going to resonate with them. So I need to learn how to best to communicate with somebody with that type of thought process. And that free link that I sent gives you a free information, and they give you a quick little how to talk to your total opposite, which is supremely helpful. If you're talking to somebody that, like an engineer and a creative, those are complete opposites. How can I say message 1, 2, 3 that didn't hit or stick to the wall to an engineer? How can I say it differently? Little word shifts that I can say that'll help that engineer understand and hear me. They share that in that link. So I will resend that link again, just to make sure you guys understand. When I say it's gold or there's golden nuggets in it, look at it, check it out, because I'm not just saying it for fun. It's really a good thing. So anyways, this I found at EXP. Who are you talking to when this is, we're running out of time. I'm going to ask you all, if we run out of time, since we have 10 minutes left and I have a lot more to go through, we can either jump back on, or because I do promise that we're going to finish in 40 minutes, we can always pick this up again next week. Besides, next week was going to be an additional part to this, so we might just pick it up next week, just to be conscious of everyone's time. So who's buying? Is it Michelle and her spouse, or is it just Michelle's kids? Or, when are they buying? In 0 to 3 months, 3 to 6 months, or 6 to 12 months? What are they looking for? A new construction home or a condo? Or are they first time buyers? How many beds, baths? You know the drill here. Where and why? Why are they looking to move? They're going to have a baby, or they're going to get married, or whatever. So there's life situation that's motivating the move. So this little sheet I found to be really simple, but supremely helpful, because any of you that paid attention to the one intake sheet that I have, it's supremely long. It's easy for me to just flow through the conversations of what I want to ask. That's why I had to put it in such a lengthy detail. But if you just want bullet points and you kind of have an idea of what you want to ask, this will at least keep you on the basics of target of what to ask either a buyer or a seller. So I will make sure to send that out to you guys as well. And then here's one for a sales communication checklist. What does that mean? Okay, well, what should I be looking for, or how many times should I be talking to a buyer or a seller? These are minimal. Before the showing, during the showing, after the showing, before you write an offer, during the offer, and after you write an offer for a buyer. And the same thing. Again, these are the minimal amounts of times. And again, you always want to find out what works for that client. Do they want to be spoken to, communicated with on a daily basis, monthly, weekly, whatever, etc. And then
Phone call, text message.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And when you're in negotiations of a contract, you're going to need to have written the contract. You need to have confirmation that they're pre-approved, pre-qualified, anything else that's going to affect their purchase of the property. You need to know all that information for both buyers and then for sellers as well. So again, these are just quick little sheets that I found at EXP. I thought that were pretty darn helpful and good tools. So I definitely wanted to share those with you. This here is the vision plan. Oops, get open. Vision plan for real estate growth. So let's get that over so you can see it a little better. Okay. I get my leads from physical meetings, a unique niche, digital marketing, or Michelle's would be open houses somewhere in there. Draw a little house. There's Michelle's. Your top lead sources, where are they? Here you go. Open houses, public events. Where are your top threes? What's your niche? Meaning, are you going to focus on for sale by owners, builders, attorneys, HR managers, CPAs, church, circle, prospecting, farming? This is just a tidbit of niches. You could, if you have a different niche altogether, fill it in. You don't have to just choose from this, but this gives you a good idea of where you can delve into. And when you're first starting out, people usually say, well, I want to try everybody. I want to try everything. And you know what? Go for it. Try it. You won't know until you land on something. After you're in for a while, Michelle, I think you've been in long enough to where you can decide, do you want to work with first-time buyers? Do you want to try and work with attorneys or for sale by owners or et cetera? You know, you may know that answer. You may not. You might be on the hinge, on the fence of deciding something like that. But once you are in it long enough, I think you get to a point where a niche makes sense. And because time is always a factor. As you get older, time definitely becomes a factor, and then niches make more sense, I think. So I think there's a time and a place for a niche. I don't know. I do know a few agents that have decided to niche out when they first started saying, we only want to work with investors. And they decided to do it, and they're actually very successful and are investors themselves. So, you know, you could start out the gate if you want to, pick a niche and just run with it. No harm, no foul. You could just go for it. And then digital, as far as digital goes, you know, ads, social, this just, again, gives you an idea of where are you putting your information and your time? Are you paying for any ads on Zillow or realtor.com or Facebook, et cetera? So this is, again, these are just primers of ideas to keep you on track for what your goal is. And then a little commitment to yourself. You will start when? January 1st. By day 7, you've made how many actions towards your goal, and you want to plan on generating, according to that spreadsheet, you know, 3 new leads a week. How many are you generating, et cetera? So you want to be able to keep track of your time and your vision at least at a snapshot. And I think this is a great way to make that happen. Or they're just additional tools to help. If anything, they're inspiration for you to think bigger on your vision board if you do a vision board. And then this one here is the LP Mama. LP Mama stands for
Listing,
location.
location and price. Yeah,
What are they
motivation.
looking for? The price. What is their price range? Their motivation. What is it? Why and how quickly? An agent. Are they working with anyone? Mortgage. Are they buying cash or financing? And set the appointment. What I love about this is for, I wish George was back on, not George, Juan was right back on here, but he can hear the recording of this. This is perfect. If you don't know what to say, this gives you a really good idea. And of course, you don't have to say it word for word as it says here. And if you want to say it word for word, that's fine. Just say it in your own tone. How do you know if you're saying it in your own tone? Record yourself with the cell phone, put it on selfie mode, and read the script like you're talking to a buyer or a seller, or depending on what it is, you know, well, you know, where are you looking? Well, the property you looked at is located, this is if somebody called you off of a floor call, or if you were doing floor calls, or let's say you have Zillow leads that you're working through, and, you know, you talk to somebody or you're holding an open house for somebody and they say, well, I saw 123 Main Street down the street. Well, what areas are you typically looking for? You can put this in your own tone, your own words, make it yours. You don't want to sound so robotic and repeat it word for word, but this helps you with ideas of what to say. What do I say at an appointment? What do I say? When you get to meet them at the house or at the office, etc. So we can always go over this again next week too, because I know we're running super short on time. So let's see, 1, 2, 3. I think I got all of these right here real quick. Okay, so I'll make sure we get those over to you. Let me go back into this here. Okay, we should be back on track. So I talked about the bucket of rocks and the pebbles and the water. Let's see. Oop. So when will you accomplish this? I feel like I skipped a page. Go back. 9. Oh no. Yeah, we're right on track. Okay, that's good. The when matters because the enemy called procrastination, along with its companion doubt, when given enough time, will absolutely dissolve your desire, therefore rerouting your path. So remember, you were zigzagging out to that parking lot. If you don't put action to what your goals are, when you don't want to do it, means that's when you should do it anyways and just push through it, because then once you push through it, you're going to be so happy you made that phone call or reached out, as awkward and weird as it was. Just do it. Be like Nike and just do it. Just get over that fear and make the call or take that action. Okay, we have less than a minute left. Any words? We're going to pick this up next week. Any questions real quick by anybody?
Well, when you say real quick, just do it. In your mind, think when you hesitate, say 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and just that's when you just do it.
Yes, I love
And
it.
then you're like, okay, I did it.
All right, everyone, we'll take this next time, and I'm definitely going to send everybody out all the pages I showed you and the links. And if you have any questions at all whatsoever, email me, text me. Happy to help.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Just in a minute.